Good morning. What a great start to my day. What a great start to my day. I'm in a really good mood. I heard exactly what I needed to hear. And it really started with a song. So, like, I know there's some friends of mine that probably will watch this, and, I may lose my man card here, but I'm gonna talk about it anyways. And I think that, like, it was the first song of my day. There was the song I started, like, I just tell my phone to play something random and it just played it. And it really gave me perspective over my problem that I've had, my challenge. I don't like to say problem. The challenge that I've had. It's a song by Adele called Alone in the Dark. And I don't really listen to Adele that much. I mean, I have, but I'm not like an Adele. Like, I don't just say, play Adele. But that song really spoke to me. And it was exactly what, if there was a story behind the end of, like, behind the middle and the end of what I was going through, that would be the song. Like, if somebody was like, pick a song that would explain what was going on, that would be the song. And it really, I mean, it made me cry. But it also made me happy, because I feel like my higher power said, here, I want you to listen to this. And so it's awesome how my higher power can speak to me through that. Like, between yesterday, going to that meeting, and, like, really just, I punished myself at the gym last night. Like, I just, like to where I could barely move. I was just, and I didn't do it to beat myself up. I was just exerting energy, exerting sadness, exerting all that stuff. And like, it was awesome. Not as awesome today, but, and then I went this morning, but, it was perfect. Like, the way everything has played out in these last couple of days. And now, I find a lot of gratitude in everything. Especially with the message today that I got, about being in the middle of grace and truth. Sometimes you can be too gracious, or you can have too much grace, and you go away from truth. And because you want to be this, but the truth is, it's hurting. My part in this was hurting, even if I was being giving, all the way to the point where somebody could believe that I'm a certain way. And so it really summed up after the song, and I feel really grateful today. This morning, I'm gonna make some special French toast for the kids now, which I gotta go buy some special bread, which has raisins and cinnamon in it, and it's really thick, and I'm gonna make a really good French toast for them, get some heavy cream. I make a really good batter for that, and I'm going to hook it up for these littles, and just have them enjoy, breakfast, brunch, really. And then we're gonna go for a walk, and we're gonna probably go to the park, because it's been just so rainy and shitty, and like, they need to get out of the house, and they need to go to the park, and they need to, just spend some time with Dad, where I push them and we laugh and we joke, and, I'm not all up in my shit. And, I'm clean today, and I'm grateful that I'm not, like, it's that day 15, right? 2 weeks in a day, like 15 days every month that I stay clean. I don't know how long it's going to last, but it's going to be hopefully forever, and that's an indefinite, right? Always, forever, never. But hopefully it lasts for a long time, for years for me, where I remember that 2 weeks in a day marker for me, because it's a big fucking deal. When I had 2 weeks in a day, in treatment, and just a couple things that happened when that happened, and I've shared about it before, and I don't mind sharing about it again, where I yelled at myself and said, you can't even get fucking 2 weeks, you're fucking worthless, You know, don't call nobody. Don't reach out to nobody. You're going to figure this out on your fucking own. Or you're going to fucking die. You know, that's how I talk to myself. And here I sit with 7 months and 15 days. You know, 2 weeks and a day. And I sat there on my original clean date. It was 9/14/2024. And I had 2 weeks and a day. Because I had decided that 2 weeks and a day prior that enough was enough and I was done. And I surrendered, truly, inside me. Not like I say, oh, I'm done. How many times have I done that? How many times have I said, I'm fucking done? You know, and I would believe it until I felt a little better. Until life got really fucking, until, you know, a counselor said, well, you would self-medicate from the PTSD of the whole week. Because I explained what was going on, and I never even thought of that. It was so stressful hiding, using. It was so stressful having people see me sweat and nervous and scared and trip on my own feet and mumble on my own words when I'm generally articulate. It was so stressful that when I finally felt better and the weekend was upon me, that because I was so exhausted from it, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, the only break I felt sounded good was getting loaded. So for anybody watching this that doesn't use or doesn't have this problem, and you're looking at somebody that you know, and you're like, how the fuck can they keep doing that to themselves? Don't they know it's fucking them up? They know. We know it's fucking us up. But it's like the only thing that fucking gives us a break until we decide to fucking do this. Because it's harder to live like that than it is to put in the work. But we don't realize it until we actually put in the work. And then shit comes up. Relationships, fucking, I see it somebody that fucking, you know, like that I used with or that I got from, and then all of a sudden that little fucking thought in my head comes in and says, oh yeah, that's that dude. I could just turn around and I could just go fucking hit him up right now. And I guarantee you I'll get some. And then I look in the mirror and I say, are we going to do this again? And then I realize, no, we're not. And then I share about it on this, and then I share about it in a meeting. And so here I am, sunny day. Instead of getting loaded this weekend, I went to a meeting, went to the gym, went to church. I'm going to make breakfast. Fucking, if that's all that fucking happens and I didn't get loaded, then it's a fucking win. And how many times did I want one of those wins? You know, and I realized that all of this stuff that I've been dealing with, which is real, you know, there's somebody that's hurting right now from it. I'm hurting from it because there was too much grace and not enough truth. Because I didn't hear that fucking song that they were speaking to me, because I loved them and I thought I was right for them. But I can't save people. I can't. I can love them, but I can also be true and understand that maybe my grace is more than they need right now. And it may seem like it's good, but if it's hurting somebody, the truth snaps. This guy had this rubber band and 2 people holding it, and it just like spoke to me. And maybe it convinced them that I was what I'm not. But I know I'm not. And so the lesson, you know, the lesson for me is that you have to stay in the middle. Like my higher power did. He stayed in the middle. He stood firm on truth and he stood firm on grace. And if somebody was too sinful or whatever, he didn't give only grace. He stood firm and said, don't sin anymore, but you're not to be condemned. And it's a good lesson. And it's the proper closure. And sitting here searching for closure. Like, how could But we get it in stages and phases, and I had to feel what I felt. And tell this person that I'm sorry. I never meant to say, don't ever call me again. I never meant to say, don't talk to me anymore. I was wrong. And if I put you in a dark place, I'm sorry. I was wrong. And if that's the only way that makes sense for you to make a sense of it all, that's my fault. I caused that. Not intentionally, just by not understanding what this is all about. It's about staying clean. It's about love. It's about the grind. I truly love myself today more than I have. And for a minute there, I was starting to kind of hate myself because of all of this. Not hate myself, but I was mad at myself. I was mad at myself for the wrong reasons. I was mad at myself for opening up. I was mad at myself for the wrong reasons. Not giving myself grace. You know. And so I seeked out validation of others to tell me, hey, you're not that person, you're not this. When it's the journey to give myself the ability to look at myself in the mirror and know within myself that you're not. But you're learning. You only have months clean. And it's not about this could have gone so worse. This already went worse. This already was bad. You know, I was called dangerous. I couldn't understand why. But if I live that way, and I don't have this perspective, it can be. I have to accept that. I don't have to go to the extreme of what I was called. But yeah. Learn from the program, learn from my higher power, learn from my experience, give grace, give truth, stay in the middle. That has to be the foundation of what I'm trying to do here. And listen to the suggestions of my sponsor. Listen to the suggestions of other men in this program, of other women in this program. And understand that, if I'm really here to help, then there has to be a balance on how I do it. And to know that the mistakes that I'll make in the future don't have to be as bad as the ones that I've made in the past. There'll be other mistakes. There'll be mistakes where oh wow, this mistake is bad, but it's not these mistakes I've made. And so I'm grateful for today. I'm grateful for the sun. I'm grateful for my recovery, 7 months and 15 days. And I'm grateful for how my higher power speaks to me. You know, my higher power spoke to me in volumes today. In volumes today. With the going into the meeting last night and getting all the hugs and everybody saying, I'm so glad you're here. Are you okay? And me realizing, yeah, I'm actually okay. Not, yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm glad I went to the gym. I'm glad I kicked my butt. It's all connected for me. It's all connected. And I'm truly grateful for these last couple of months now. It's not about that I got to love. It's about I know I can. It's about I know that there's somebody out there eventually that has the ability to treat me the way I was treated, which was good and kind and helpful. But what I asked of this person was to help me through my stuff when they weren't even knowing what their stuff was. And that was a lot for me to ask somebody to do. They needed to focus on their stuff. And because they were so good to me, I wanted more and more of it. And it didn't give them the ability to really focus on themselves. And I was wrong in that. But I am grateful for the help that I got. I'll take it with me for a long time. And hopefully I'll help somebody with it. They say a person with 20 years clean can help a person with 1 day clean. And a person with 1 day clean can help a person with 20 years clean. Now, this may not be the same amount of time, but this applies. I was at a point in my recovery where I could handle stuff that this person was at a point in their recovery where they couldn't. But they helped me, and I know I helped them. And I'm truly grateful for that song this morning. And I don't care if it makes me lose my man card. It was the right song. And so, thank you, higher power. Thank you, God, for that. And I think I'm going to end this on this. Otherwise, I'd just be babbling. Guess what? I love you. You're needed, wanted, and loved. And let's all learn together. I know I can. I'm glad I have the ability to learn. And I'm glad I'm going through the process that I'm going through. I'm glad none of this shit's easy. If it was easy, I wouldn't even be here. It would have already been done. I wouldn't even be talking about recovery. Recovery isn't about just not using drugs, although that has to be the most important thing. It's about living life and being a better person in life and learning as you go along and then helping others, being of service and letting people know that they're just as important as the next person, but I'm not more important than they are. That's all I got. Love you guys. Happy Sunday. You got this. If I got this, if I can do this shit, I promise you, you can. Fuck if you only knew. Bye.